Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to install a subwoofer in the trunk of your BMW i3. So to give you an idea, this is what the finished product looks like. Installed on the side, so you can still drop the seats, it doesn't get in the way of anything. This is your shopping list. The sub is a JBL BassPro SL. You need that, you need the posi-tap assortment. This is what it looks like right here. This is going to be for attaching the wires to the amp to your factory wires. The reason you want to go with these versus anything else is because you can see right here there's a little hole where your factory wire goes through. It makes tapping in very easy and very easy to undo should you decide you don't want to keep this. Or if you have a lease car and you don't want them to know that you did it. You're going to need 12 foot of 12 gauge wire, 12 foot of 16 to 18 gauge wire, and then you see the optional stuff you have right here. When I say terminal posts, I'm referring to the actual things that attach to the end of the wire that you use to connect to the amp. So first I want to give credit to the person whose instructions I copied. So this name right here, he is on the BMW i3 blog on Facebook. i3 group, not blog. This is a procedure that I follow. Very first thing, disconnect your battery. Or keep the key away. I admit I was a bit lazy. I did not disconnect my negative, but I should have. You can really mess things up if you don't do that. So first thing I do, go ahead and build your wires. And what you want to do is take your 12 gauge wire, cut it into two 6-foot lengths. Take your 16 to 18 gauge wire, cut that into two 6-foot lengths. The 16 to 18 gauge wire is going to be used to extend the wiring pigtail that's about this long that comes with the amp. And that is the high level input. So what you want to do is you're going to extend it to go from the trunk back here. And again, you need about 6 feet. Then you're going to remove the seat cushion, run the wires, attach the posi-taps first, connect the wires to the amp, then connect the wires to the taps, to the car itself. So you want the circuit to be complete on the amp just in case you cross something. Then go have a beer, if you haven't had a few already. Test it out, and then you mount the amp. I'm noting this here, the positive and negative for the speaker wires that we're going to tap into, so that way I don't have to come back over here and show it. So black, brown, black, red, that's what you're looking for. So one more look at the board, and then I'm going to show you the car. Okay, so here I already have the seat cushion out. For anyone who hasn't done this before, because it made me nervous at first, to pull out the cushion, get your hand under right here, and you have to pull up with some considerable force. And then same thing on that side. So you see these two metal posts. Get your hand up under there and pull pretty hard. And then the seat cushion comes up and you just pull it out. So I'll start back over here. Remember, run the wires first before you bother hooking it up to the amp. So you have the wire, runs back around the seat belt area of the rear seat. Comes through over here. Just let that sit for a second. Take a yellow posi-tap, plug into one of the thick black cables here that connects to the grounding point. Don't connect this part yet, just connect the posi-tap. Then come over here to this wiring spool. By the way, let me zoom out a little bit. This right here is a Harmon Kardon amp, okay? What you're gonna start with once you pull that seat cushion off is pull this wiring harness out. You have to push in the little button here, swing that down, wiring harness comes out. And just so you know, I've left all these cables out here sloppy because I wanted to show you how to do this build first, but they're going to end up being tucked away with zip ties. I'd recommend you do the same. If for no other reason, there's a fan right here, like a little computer fan. You don't want the cable getting into there and burning it out. So disconnect this. Look for the red and yellow wire in that loom. There's only one. That's the power wire. You're going to cut back a little bit of this black tape to give yourself some room. Then take a yellow posi-tap, tap into that red and yellow wire. Then look for the black, red, black, brown wires. They're going to be right on the other side. Grab two blue posi-taps. You'll tap one into the black, brown, one into the black, red. And note with your wires, because here, these thin wires I use to extend to the high input, the speaker level input on the car, keep track of which one's positive, which one's negative. I admit I was too cheap to buy a black and a red, so I just had to keep track, and you can see here I flagged the negative. Connect that to the negative and the positive using the color code that I showed you before. All right, so now you have all the posi-taps hooked up, but you haven't hooked up your amp wires. Next step is to come back here, take your amp, which isn't mounted yet. You're going to just set your amp right here, and you're going to connect all your cables to the amp, okay? And see that we're using the high speaker input. The reason that we wanted this amp and sub is that the high input has what's called audio sense, where you don't have to run a dedicated remote wire to this amp. As soon as it senses a frequency coming through the speaker input, the amp turns itself on, and it does basically the same thing as a remote wire used to be for older subs. And you say, I went ahead and you hook up the power and ground. Remember, at this point, the amp is still laying right here. Once the amp is connected, come back over here. Take your ground cable first, connect it into the top of the posi-tap. Then come over here to the positive, connect that to the other posi-tap, and then connect your speakers, both blue ones. So now you're connected on this side, you're connected on that side. Now it's time to have a beer. Go hook up your negative terminal to the car and go ahead and give it a shot. So at that point, you should have sound. Now, one more thing I want to point out. There's going to be a blue light right here to indicate that the sub is on. I'm sorry, it's right here. That is going to stay on after you turn the car off for about 10 minutes. The car, when you turn it off, keeps power going to certain systems for a certain amount of time. I don't know all the logic on it yet. But that amp is going to stay on. Don't worry, just keep an eye on it. It'll go out. It's not going to drain your battery. So one more time, I'll show you. This is the shopping list, and that is the procedure. If you have any questions, I'd probably suggest contacting that guy first. But if not, you can shoot me a message. I'm happy to help out. Good luck.